Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Bhattarayanam Sutrabhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavandau Punah Punaha Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha Gukaro Anthakaro Vairukarastan Nivartakaha Anthakara Nirodhitvad Gururitya Vidhiyate Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Bhadram Karne Vishrunayama Devaha Bhadram Pashyemakshaviryachatraha Sthirairangai Sushtuvam Sastanubihi Veshema Devahitam Yatayuhu Susti na Indro Vriddashravaha Susti na Pusha Vishwavedaha Susti nastakshu Arishtanemihi Susti no Brahaspatir Dathatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So, before starting an Upanishad class, in our tradition, we will chant the Shanti Mantra. That is what we have chanted now, as though we were chanting in the Kathopanishad also. For the Kathopanishad, our Shanti Mantra was Om Sahana Vavadu. We didn't chant again after chanting once. So Shanti Mantra chanting is important in the tradition before the Upanishad begins. One should by heart the Shanti Mantra in order to seek the grace of the Lord to remove all kinds of obstacles, all kinds of possible obstacles which may come in our spiritual pursuit. I will read the mantras of Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad, which we are already gone. Then I will come to the third mantra. First two mantras I will chant. Om iti etat aksharam idam sarvam tasya ubhavyakhyanam bhutam bhavat bhavishyat iti sarvam omkaraha eva yaccha anyat trikala atitam tadapi omkaraha eva. Second mantra. Sarvam hi etat brahma ayam atma brahma soyam atma chatushpad. Now the third mantra, which we saw in an overall way, now I want to give some clarifications regarding that third mantra. I will read the third mantra. Jagarita sthanaha bahishprajnaha saptankaha ekona vimshati mukaha stulabhug Vaishvanaraha Prathamaha Pataha. We are studying an Upanishad which belongs to Atharva Veda. The word Upanishad, which I have already explained a few classes before. That which have to study under a proper traditional teacher. That which put an end for the death and birth cycle. That which teaches about the human goal called Brahma, and that which directs us towards Brahma. All these facts are nothing but the meaning of word Upanishad. I already mentioned you few classes before. From this word itself, one thing is sure. The subject matter which we are going to deal with through an Upanishad is Brahma, the all-pervading Lord, the all-knowing Lord, the Almighty Lord. This is meant by the word Brahman. This Brahman is worshipped through different religions and also the different gods of Hinduism. Whether it is Lord Ganesha, whether it is Lord Vishnu, whether it is Lord Shiva, whoever it may be, that lords are nothing but the incarnation of this all-pervading Lord. Let it be there. I just mentioned all these things for certain beginners. Brahman being the topic of each and every Upanishads, Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad starts with the teaching of Omkara. Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad says that everything is nothing but Omkara. And these things which are happening now, which are already happened, which are yet to come, nothing, it's all Om Eva. And after that, in the second verse, it confirms that Omkara is the name of Brahman. And each and every word will be connected to the respective thing. So too, the Omkara is connected with the word, the thing, object, Brahman. We already elaborately discussed about these two verses. Now we have to discuss a bit more about the third verse. For the support, for the easier way of the people who are in the pursuit of spirituality, for the unenlightened people who are in the pursuit of spirituality. Upanishads present different way to reach the goal. Systematic method to take the person step by step towards the spiritual goal. One method is being taken by the Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad. Analysis of the three states of a human being. Avastha Traya Prakriya. After analyzing the three states, all these three states are merging into what? Unto which all these three states are merged. That substratum is pointed out through these studies. For that, we are entering to the first state through this verse. What is the first state? Waking state. Waking state got as the first state because not due to any priority in the creation. Because somebody may ask, why dream state or deep sleep states are not important, only waking state is important. What is the measure? Why? What is the logic behind giving the waking state as the first state? Definitely there is an answer. In the creation, there is no priority for any of the states. Every state has a purpose that it should direct towards the goal. So, waking state have certain things to understand. Even though creation doesn't have any priority to give as a first quarter to the waking state, in the waking state only we analyze about the dream state, deep sleep state, and waking state. From the waking state only we will come to know about the liberation, moksha. The dream state and deep sleep state can only analyze in the waking state only. That's why waking state is important. Jagarita sthanam. And it's the sphere of Vaishvanara. Vaishvanara. Vishwam. The world is his field. Vaishvanara. So, when the innermost self appears in the waking state, for what purpose it will appears into the waking state? It will get into contact with the things and with the senses and the things. The senses, Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandham. The sense of listening, the sense of sight, the sense of smell, the sense of tongue, sense of taste and talk, the sense of touching. Get into contact and will interact with the external world. So, Bahishprajna, the consciousness which is flowing towards the external world through the senses, so that Bahish Prajna, Prajna, the consciousness, Bahish, a consciousness which is extroverted, which is extrovert, flowing towards outside through our senses. Without this consciousness, our senses doesn't have any role, don't have any role. Because of the consciousness remains, our senses are active towards the external world. Thus, Bahishprajna, the name Bahishprajna, consciousness which is flowing outside. What are the limbs for this Jagrita Sthana? Limbs, parts. I already mentioned you the 7 limbs of this Vaishvanara. What are the 7 limbs? I will again read for you. The head will be the effulgent world. It can be heaven or any other thing. The head will be its effulgent world. The eyes will be the sun. The sun will be the eyes of the Vaishvanara, who is the innermost self, who is appearing in the waking state. The vital force will be the air. The space will be the middle part. Of the body. And water will be is the lower part of his body. And the fire, Avahaniya, there are 3 ritualistic fires. Avahaniya Agni, Dakshinagni, Garhapatya Agni. For Agnihotra sacrifice, these fires are important. The name only different. The generation of the fire will be same, with a matchbox or some camphor which are having some fire will lit up this fire. And it will be kept alive as long as the person will live in this world. Very important rituals are there. For that rituals, one of this fire should be carried and lit up. Avahaniya Agni, a fire who has the name of Avahaniya. Mouth will be Avahaniya. And that's all the 7 parts. So effulgent world, sun, vayu, space, water, avahaniya, and earth. One is there. Earth is also there. Pada, legs. So these 7 limbs make some confusion. When the subject matter is about the innermost self appearing as Vaishvanaraha, how can we give the limbs as superficial physical parts, which are outside and which are superficial? This is the question to be answered once more. The question asked in the commentary of Adi Shankara. The question was like this in Sanskrit. Katham ayam atma brahma idi pratyak atmanaha asya chatushpatve pragrade dvilogadinam murdadi angatvam iti. This was the question. The question is like this. When the topic is about the innermost self appearing in one's own body in the name of Vaishvanaraha, how can you give the parts which are the parts of superficial physical body? How can you give these superficial physical parts to an innermost self, which cannot be accepted, or you should explain it properly? Remember, the question is valid. Suppose I have 7 limbs and I explain my 7 limbs are: one is heaven, one is water, one is the whole vital force, one is the Avahani Agni. It's impractical, it's illogical. So one need to know the clear answer. The 7 limbs of the innermost self are effulgent world, etc., etc., the 7 limbs. And the 19 faces, Sapta Angaha Eka Una Vimshati Mukaha. I already mentioned you how the 19 mouths. Mouth means here through which you will grasp, you will come to know the external world. This is called the mouth. How we interact with the external world, by which organs? They are all the mouths. Which are they? 5 sense organs which are already given by the blessings of this all-pervading consciousness. Our eyes and ears, our nose, our mouth, and our skin. It's not the external part, the strength which is there in these external organs. The sense of hearing, the sense of seeing, the sense of touching, the sense of taste and talk, the sense of smell. Shabda, sparsha, rupa, rasa, gandhani in Sanskrit. 5 sense organs, 5 organs of action, Vak, Pani, Pata, Upastha, Apayu. Sense of holding, sense of walking, sense of talking, communication. Two senses which are involved in the action of cleaning this body. All five senses are called actions of senses of actions. And five pranaha, pancha pranaha, pancha jnanendriyaha, pancha karmendriyaha, pancha pranaha. Prana, apana, vyana, udana, samana. According to their work inside our body after entering through the nose, we have given some name for them. Pancha prana. And manaha, buddhi, ahankaram, chittam. Manas, sankalpa, vikalpatmakam, manaha. One who goes on and on doubting and discussing about the thing what you have perceived. Sankalpa, vikalpa. There are options in the mind always. Nishchayatmika buddhi. One who confirm what you have perceived is called buddhi, intellect. One who keep everything in the memory, chittam, smriti. It's another device or faculty of our brain. Chittam, smriti, memory. Without that, it's not very easy to survive in this world. Everything have its own importance. Memory culture is very important in the spirituality. Whatever you have listened, you should keep inside, and you have to connect with the coming portions. You have to connect with the portions already gone beyond. This memory culture only will help the person to connect everything. It's not a time pass, understand? I have enough work to do, you have enough work to do, still we are together means there is something relevant which we are discussing. So memory culture is very important. What you are listening should be kept inside, or we should take some notes through YouTube listening. Manaha, buddhi, chittam, ahankaram. That notion that I am this body and I have all these faculties, that's called ego. These four constitute, and for all other 5 plus 5 plus 5, all these things together constitute his 19 phases through which he will interact the world by taking from there and analyzing, and will keep all the things inside. Few things are delivered outside. Interacting with the world with these 19 things. That's why Ekona Vimshati Mukaha. Stula book, Vaishvanara. Stula book, always his actions are towards the external world, gross things through the organs, etc. Stula book. One who enjoys the world, external world, Stula book. Stula means gross, external. Book means enjoyer. Enjoyer of the external things. He is called Vaishvanara. And Prathamaha Padaha, first quarter of the 4 quarters. Remember, for the sake of understanding, for the traditional teachings, different methods are being allowed, permitted to make understand the unknown from the known things. So, for that, 3 states are analyzed, and the first state is waking state. There is no priority in the creation for any states. But from the waking state only, we analyze the dream state and deep sleep state. From the waking state only, we know about the moksha, the liberation, the emancipation. That is why waking state is being told as the first quarter. Now, the main topic of this commentary, that why this innermost self, Vaishvanaraha, has got the Adi Deviga limbs, superficial physical limbs. Why should one get all these external superficial limbs in this topic? Listen slowly. All the Upanishads are working for two goals: clearing the non-duality and make you free from the world. There is nothing other than you. Clearing the duality, that means removal of the duality, removal of the illusion towards the external world. There is no external world apart from the base or the substratum. And to establish there is no difference between the innermost things and the external things. Imagine there is a big body of water like a sea or a pond or a lake. Lot of bubbles are there on the lake. Something is small, some others are big, some others are extra big. Bubbles differ in their shape and forms, not in the forms. Bubbles differ in their shape, in their forms, but the content is one. Each and every bubble has the content as water. Water never differ from one to one. The same idea keeping in the mind here, Adhyatma, the innermost self, is equated towards the Adi Devika, towards the divine things which are the base of universe. So first goal of any Upanishad is to remove the duality and establish the non-duality from the separation of myself and the world and the Lord. There are a lot of separation from one to one. In order to establish the non-duality, Advaita Siddhyartham, Prapancha Upashama Siddhyartham. That is what Shankara answers for this question. The question was, why you imagine the seven limbs as from the divine world, superficial physical organs? Then the Lord Shankara, Shankara, the commentator, says, the first line of this Bhashya is, answer, Evam cha sati sarva prapancha upashame advaita siddhi. By doing in this manner only, one will have the removal of the illusion that I am separate from the external world. Really speaking, there is no separation from the person and the world. Like the bubbles are made of one single content, water in the lake. There is no separation from the each and everything as their content. Similarly, the external world or the divine world or the superficial energies like the effulgent world, water, etc., are nothing but the innermost self only. In order to establish establish that point, here in this third verse, the limbs are superficial. And another point to be established by the Upanishad is everything is nothing but the Brahman or Atman, which is free from death and birth. So two goals keeping in the mind, Upanishads work over time for the human being. That's why the Upanishads have another name, Shruti Mata. Mother Shruti, who works over time in order to correct the human and in order to make free the human world from the death and birth cycle and also from all kinds of illusions. The two facts keeping in the mind make them to understand the non-duality from the external world and from the internal world. Yet pinde tad brahmande, what is there inside this body only there in the external world, what we call universe. Yet pinde tad brahmande. Sarva bhutastam atmani sarva bhutani cha atmanaha. One who sees everything inside him, one who sees whatever things are there externally, that's all me. In everything I exist and in me everything exists. This is the fact one should understand. I am not separate from the dog or cow or the stars or anything which are external. So Upanishad have two things in the mind. To show the human goal that you are the innermost self, not the human body. You are the Brahman, you are not the human body or these three states. This is the second goal. And the first goal is that to remove the non-duality. To remove the duality and to establish the non-duality. Advaita Siddhi and Prapancha Upashama. Through that, death and birth cycle will have a culmination. The person who understands that I am here in the form of universe and who is called Brahman will not take a birth again in this universe. For this purpose, what is being told by the what is told by Shankara and the Upanishad, there is no wrong to give all the Adi Devika limbs to the Adhyatmika. There is no wrong about that. The knowledge about oneself is the main concern through giving the divine parts as the innermost self. For that purpose only, here the innermost self having the divine parts. And also, Shankara says that Ishyade cha sarva upanishadam sarvatma aikya pratipadakatvam. All the Upanishads have one intention, that non-duality should be established and I am this. Everyone, what I see, I am the one and the only thing in the world. For that purpose only, the innermost self is having the 7 limbs which are superficial. Nothing wrong on that. To establish the fact which is non-duality, there is no difference from the Adi Devika and Adhyatmika. There is no difference from the personal and from the totality. There is no different. I am the universe. I am the innermost self. The Brahman, which is also called the self, is the substratum of everything. To establish this fact, the non-difference between the Adi Devika, the divine parts, even the lords also will have four quarters. Jagradam, Swapnam, Sushupti. The divine beings which are we call Devas, the people who are living in heaven, etc., etc. One who believes, they can believe. But here, as a fact, all the four quarters also there for the lords also, for the human beings also, and there is no difference between the external world and with the individual self. Everything is one and the same. To establish this fact, there is no wrong on imagining the seven limbs are superficial. This is the answer given by the Lord Shankara in his commentary, a question. And after that, this idea should be extended towards the deep sleep state also, dream state also. Like that, the Vaishvanaraha, the innermost self, is the Virat, the conscious being or the totality of gross being. The consciousness which is in the form of the universe. Virat. Vaishvanaraha eva Virat. Both are one and the same. What appears as a human being, that only in the form of this universe. Vaishvanaraha eva Virat. This similarity, this identity is very much similar for another two states. For dream sleep state, when the innermost self appears in the dream state, it will get the name called Taijasaha. We will discuss how the name Taijasaha. The Taijasaha is having the similar identification with the Hiranyagarbha, as though Vishwa and Virat are having non-difference. Similarly, the entity, the innermost self, when it appears in the dream state, will get the name Taijasaha. And the Taijasaha will have the similar identity with the whole universe which appears in the dream state. Then it will get the name Hiranyagarbha. This similar identity will be extended to the next state also. In the deep sleep state, it will get the name Prajnaha. But the same identity which got in the other two states, like that, the innermost self and the external world are non-dual. The same idea, the same similar identity will be there in the deep sleep state also. Prajnaha is non-different from Ishvara. Because the external world also, according to the beliefs of Hinduism or Hindu religion, it has origination, sustenance, and a resolution, which get merged into water. As though a human being wake up in the morning, this is called origination. He deal with the external world, with the people and the things, and he will go to sleep and he will see some dreams which are connected or corresponding to the external experiences or experiences which are gone by in the previous days. And after that, he will enter into the deep sleep. This is the simple origination, simple sustenance, simple resolution for a body, human body. The same thing occur in the cosmic way also. Everything will get resolved, everything comes into being, everything gets survived. So that there is a non-duality between the Vishwaha and Virat. If the first quarter is clearly understood, it will be very easy to go through the second two other quarters. That's why I emphasize and repeat the same sentences to get inside. Okay. So, the Vishwaha and the Virat are having the similar identity that is extended to the dream state. When the innermost self appear in the dream state, it will get the name Taijasa, which will have the similar identity with the cosmic being, which is called, when it is in the dream state, that means yet to begin the origination, potential to get the origination. In the dream state, it will get the identity called Hiranyagarbha, one who carries a lot of good things in the stomach, the potential to create Hiranyagarbha. That is the dream state of the cosmic universe. And the same thing should be extended to the deep sleep state in the resolution, Mahapralaya Kali. Everything get merged inside, nothing will be available outside. That is called pralayam or deep sleep, and the innermost self will get a name called Prajnaha, which will have the similar identity towards the cosmic world. Sorry, Ishvara. Thus, all the three states are having the non-difference to the cosmic universe. Is established, keeping the goal inside that non-duality should be established, and the Brahman, which is a substratum of the entire universe, is the human goal or to be accomplished in one's life. For that sake only, these things are being told. And also, certain other Upanishads also confirms this idea. In the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Madhu Brahmanam, a section, in that section it is told that the immortal Lord, which is bright, appearing the body, is one and the same, the immortal being, which is bright, appearing in the earth or world. The same idea in an indirect way that Madhu Brahmana also says. The one and the same entity appears in the form of body and they appears in the form of earth also. Like the big bubble and the small bubble, the content is one and the same. This is the idea to be established, so that for the body, for the innermost self, the superficial physical organs are being imagined as the seven limbs, to take away that idea of duality. This is the whole meaning of the first verse. Now we will go to the next verse to see in the Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad, which is the next verse talking about the Sapnasthana. I will read the verse and I will give you the meaning. Sapnasthanaha antah prajnaha Saptankaha एकोनविंशतिमुखः प्रविविक्तभुग् तैजसः द्वितीयः पादः. Once more I will read. स्वप्नस्थानः अन्तः प्रज्ञः सप्ताङ्कः एकोनविंशतिमुखः प्रविविक्तभुग् तैजसः द्वितीयः पादः. Sapnasthanah, one whose activities are centered on which field? Sapnasthanah, who own dream state, whose sphere is dream state. He is called Sapnasthanah. What is his name? Taijasaha. What is meant by Tejas? From the Tejas only Taijasa came. Brilliance, the consciousness. In the dream state, all our senses and organs will resolve into the subtlest form. The only consciousness works there. Only the consciousness works there. Thus, the consciousness do the job. Tejas do the job. Taijasaha. I will explain you more. Just a hint, okay? Antah prajnaha, whose realm, whose place is only inside the body, because dream is something which you perceive as a mental modifications. There is nothing comes from external. Antah prajnaha, everything happens inside the mind in the form of mental modifications. How the dream happens, I will explain you. First, you see the word by word meaning. Swapnasthanaha antah prajnaha, the consciousness which obtains inside the mind will make into different things. Antah prajna. Then saptankaha, the same parts. Saptankaha, 7 limbs which are divine and starts from effulgent word, etc. etc. Saptankaha ekona vimshati mukaha, 19 faces. 5 senses of knowledge, 5 senses of action, 5 pranaha, manas, the intellect, the mind, the memory, the ego. All together become 19 mouths to catch to grasp from the world. And pravivikta book, praviviktam, separate, very, 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 very personal. Everybody's dreams are very personal. Everybody will have different dreams. No connection with one-to-one. We will not see same dream in a village for everybody. Everybody will see different dreams. That's why Pravivikta book, one who enjoys personal impressions which are left by the waking state. I will explain you. Taijasaha, the word Taijasa come from Tejas. Only pure consciousness will become to the mental modification inside the mind. Dvitiya Padaha. In our proceeding, this will become the second quarter to be analyzed. Dvitiya Padaha. First quarter is waking state, second quarter is dream state. When I say state, the reality we should understand. Any state is impermanent. Waking state means it's impermanent. It will comes and goes. Dream also comes and goes. It's not impermanent. What is not permanent is not belongs to me, or I am not that. Because I am permanent in this world. I don't have death and birth. So impermanent means it is not me. My dream, but I am not the dream. There is no connection also with the dream. How the dream happens? We need a 5 minutes for explaining that. When we deal with these 19 phases in this external world, we collect a lot of informations. We go through different experiences. We go through different objects, even which don't belong to me, but there is an impression kept. Each and every experience has gone through these 5 senses of organs, 5 senses of knowledge or actions. There will be a carbon copy. There will be a leftover. Leave all the experiences corresponding to the external experiences inside the mind. When I see an elephant, there will be a corresponding experience kept inside the memory that it is an elephant. And when I see the dream, it can be white elephant, because white is also there inside the memory. All things mixed up together. That's why Pravivikta book, very, very personal, very, very old. It will be not the same what you have perceived in the outside. That's why it is told that Pravivikta book. So, dream is totally mentally modified forms. The thoughts which are originated from our intellect or mind, and it will become the 3 things: the enjoyer, the enjoyment, the enjoyed object. Nothing but our thoughts or the mental modification only. Jnatru Jnaya Jnana Bhava. Triputi. My own mind will become the enjoyed object. My own mind will become the enjoyer. My own mind will enjoy all the things. There is no external thing comes inside the mind. From where I get the dream? From the waking state, what I have experienced through my ignorance, through my desires, through my actions. I have a desire when I see a car. I didn't buy the car, but in the dream, I will be riding in the same car, or in the same car which are different in the color. Mental modification. The data which collected from the external world are kept inside, and they mix it up together, and it will become a dream. There is no rule for the dream. There is no control over the dream. You can see anything in the dream. You can experience anything in the dream. But while seeing the dream, it's all true. It's all real. That's why prajna, not prajna, taijasa. As though I am aware of the world, as though I am riding in the car, everything. So dream happens from the experiences of the waking state. The same corresponding impressions are kept inside the mind according to the actions which I performed, according to the objects which I have dealt with, according to my desires, according to my illusions. I may not seen an anaconda in my life, but I will see a dream of anaconda. From where it comes? There are information regarding anaconda in the waking state. At least I will see a movie posture in the waking state. So, according to the waking state, the corresponding experiences are kept as a carbon copy, the informations, and it will appear in the mental modifications when all my organs are resolved into the consciousness and it became subtle while I am in the dream state. There is no external senses working in the dream state. Only my mind will be working. That is why Shankara says here, explaining in the Jagrata Prajna Aneka Sadhana Bahir Vishaya Iva Abhavan Samanaha Manaspandana Matraha Sadi Tadabudam Samskaram Manasi Adatte. Everything will sprout inside the mind according to the experiences, according to the desires which I am having in the waking state, according to the actions which I performed or which I have a desire to perform in the waking state. Everything mixed up together and it will form as a thoughts or mental modifications in the dream state. More we will discuss regarding the dream state in the coming class. What are the ingredients of the dream and why Taijasa has importance in the dream and how the name it got in the dream state. Okay. Om Swasti Prajabhya Paripalayandam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Gobrahmanibhya Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Kali Varshadu Parjanyaha Prithvi Sasya Sharini Deshoyam Chobarahitaha Brahmana Santu Nirbhayaha Sarve Bhavantu Sukinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamataya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om